Yes, of course it. Hmm?
Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to another one of my weekly thrift hauls. If you guys are new here, my name's Haley. I am a thrifting fanatic. I love all things vintage, but I also love contemporary runway trends. So a lot of the videos that I do here involve buying clothes secondhand and then styling them in a way that feels contemporary and fresh and very on trend. Obviously, the situation in the world right now is preventing anyone from actually going out and thrifting in person, which I should note is like the least of anyone's problems. But it's also given me an opportunity to look more into the online secondhand market. So lately I've been looking for the best places to thrift online so that you guys who are also into sustainable fashion and vintage clothing can get your hands on some things despite the fact that any brick and mortar stores are closed right now. Before we get into the video where I'm going to show you guys a bunch of affordable secondhand purchases that I think fit with the 2020 trends, I just want to remind you to follow me on Depop if you haven't already. My username there is also haleyinthedetails. Because I go thrifting so much to make videos for you guys, most of what I end up showing in my videos eventually ends up on my Depop, but I also treat my Depop as my business, so you will also find things on there that you haven't seen in my videos that are in a range of sizes and styles. Lastly, I'm gonna plug my Instagram and my TikTok, which are other places where you guys can see more style inspiration from me. I've actually been having a lot of fun making TikTok videos that are not just about fashion. I recently hit 10,000 views on a shit post video about Timothée Chalamet. But anyway, I would love if you guys followed me over there so I can connect with you in even more places. So now let's get on to the outfits. So if you guys have been watching this channel for any amount of time, you know I am a hoe for a jumpsuit, particularly one with shoulder pads. Now, because I'm in Florida right now, quarantining at my parents' house, I don't have most of the jumpsuits that I have in New York, so I felt a lot more tempted to buy another, even though I already have probably like 6 or 8. This one caught my eye in particular because it was a really good price. It was authentic, dead stock 80s vintage, and it's this beautiful teal color that I think is really, really trendy for 2020. As I've mentioned before, shiny fabrics like this are super on trend, and they're a great way to make your outfit feel a little more luxurious, even if you're just lounging at home. I bought this jumpsuit for $20, which I thought was a really good steal because I bought other jumpsuits for over $100, and I don't necessarily think that those other jumpsuits are any better than this one. To finish off this look, I just threw on my gold jewelry from Majuri, and then for shoes, I threw on these blocky 90s square toe heels that I showed in my last video. I also purchased them from Depop from a different seller. Moving on, you guys know how much I love a matching set. This outfit looks like a matching set, but is actually not a matching set. So on top, I have this gorgeous puff sleeve vintage blouse that I got from Shop Series. Series is basically a website that curates the closets of a few select fashion influencers. My favorite fashion influencer personally is Alyssa in the City, or Alyssa Coscarelli. And when I saw that her closet went on Shop Series, I dropped everything and bought as much as I possibly could within reason. I ended up with this blouse, a gorgeous 1970s prairie dress, and another wrap top from Lisa Says Ga. But this is the only one that I have with me in Florida right now. I think it's such a flattering top because, again, it really cinches in your bodice area and then makes your shoulders or your arms much more voluminous. For shoes, I have on these strappy white 90s kitten heels that I got at Goodwill. For bottoms, I threw on these super soft gingham trousers that I got from Depop that were originally from Brandy Melville. Gingham is definitely a trend that has been coming and going for the last few seasons, but I definitely think for this summer it's going to be pretty hot. And I feel like a lot of my favorite style influencers are wearing gingham on Instagram right now. I don't want to support Brandy Melville as a company because their labor practices are absolute shit and they have no concept of size inclusivity, but since I got these on Depop secondhand, I felt a little bit better about it. Don't support them directly. There's plenty of Brandy Melville stuff on Depop for really reasonable prices, so if you're gonna go down that road, that's the way I would do it. Moving on, I have a two-piece set that is actually a two-piece set, and it is this beautiful 1980s vintage, sort of animal print, sort of abstract print suit. So the top is a super long tunic that I think is meant to be worn open as sort of a leisure suit, but I prefer to tie everything into a crop top, so that's what I did. The pants are this really flattering 80s fit that I always recommend for people like me who have much bigger hips than the size of their waist. A lot of contemporary clothes are made to fit more of a straight up and down shape, but no pun intended, I feel like in the 80s they made clothes to fit more of a curvier figure. This fabric is also super light. I believe it's a cotton linen blend, so it's perfect for summertime. Probably not summertime in Florida, but summertime somewhere else. Besides matching sets, the other trend that I was really focusing on here is big, bold patterns. Obviously, every spring you get the little ditzy floral pattern, maybe some stripes, maybe some plaid, but I think more and more these big, bold prints that we've been seeing on the runway are trickling down into everyday fashion. So if you've ever wanted to try out some crazy prints, I think now is definitely the time. Moving on, I have yet another Depop acquisition. It's these gorgeous cream colored 1980s, 1990s trousers. You guys know I'm just obsessed with pants, particularly high-waisted pants with this very flattering 80s trouser cut. They cinch you in at the waist, they have plenty of room for your hips, and then they taper down at the leg. So they really do create this very hourglass figure, and they're very on trend for spring 2020. The belt is not part of the pants, I added that on myself. It's just an 80s belt that I got from Goodwill. And then for the top, I chose this abstract print 1980s vintage blouse that I got on thredUP. If you guys didn't watch my thredUP haul and review, go ahead and do that next. I bought a bunch of pieces on there specifically to sell on my Depop. This top is definitely one of those things that I really, really like, but I'm probably going to sell to you guys because I'm so pale and it just very clearly washes me out. Not that that's always a bad thing, but in this case, I feel like I'm blending into my walls behind me. This is an extra large, super long tunic style top. So again, I just tied it up in the front in a knot and tucked it under to create this little crop top out of it. Micro crop tops are definitely going to be a big trend for this summer. So if you're not willing to cut all of your favorite shirts into crop tops or invest in a bunch of really overpriced tiny strips of fabric, I would recommend trying out this trick and temporarily turning one of your regular tops into a crop top. Next up, I have a purchase from my favorite vintage store, Awoke Vintage in Brooklyn. They're mostly an in-person store, but they are still selling on their Instagram, so you guys should definitely go check it out. And they are a female-owned and run business, so they're definitely one of my top picks for a small business to support during this difficult time. They're very into environmental and social activism, and for that reason, I am actively trying to support them. I saw these gorgeous red houndstooth pants, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, houndstooth, especially colorful houndstooth, is a major trend for 2020. These pants are super stretchy, so they're very flattering and just kind of conform to my shape. And for that reason, I figured they'd be a great piece to style with something oversized. So I have this beautiful chenille bright orange jacket that I got at Goodwill. It's kind of like a cardigan, but it's really thick and heavy, so I think it's kind of meant to be worn as like a sweater jacket. It's got these big, beautiful, very 90s-esque buttons, and the fabric is just so soft. Again, because I didn't want to completely lose my figure with this piece, I decided to style it with another micro crop top, just a super old tank top that I have from Brandy Melville that I folded over into an even shorter crop. This outfit is pretty naked looking for a place like New York City, but I forget that in Florida, people kind of wear stuff like this all the time, and also in LA, where I'm eventually moving, I also think this would probably fly. But if you're uncomfortable with an outfit like this, wearing a big oversized jacket or something over it is a great way to still show off a flash of your figure without totally exposing yourself. I'm just a little sad that it's way too hot to wear this jacket outside right now. Moving on, the last two pieces are from the same vintage store on Depop called Vintage Peach. I've actually bought from her before and I highly recommend her as a seller. So I had my eye on this 1980s vintage plaid dress for a while, but it was a little bit too pricey for me to go for it. But then she ended up having a 55% off bundles sale, so I got this and the next thing that I'm gonna show you. But anyway, this dress, for all the same reasons that I mentioned before, is just super flattering. It's got these very big shoulders that just add volume seam to the top of your body so that your waist looks even smaller. It's got these big opalescent buttons, a lot like the buttons on the Chanel jacket that I just showed you. And of course, it's got this beautiful plaid. Once again, for shoes, I threw on my strappy 90s kitten heels, but if I had all of my shoes with me, I definitely would have paired this with my knee-high boots from Miriam Nasser Zadeh that I showed you guys before, just because it's so 1980s, and the 1980s are reigning supreme. The last outfit that I have to show you guys is definitely the most casual of all my outfits and is a more realistic depiction of what I wear every day in quarantine. First up, it's these beautiful 1980s vintage multicolor pinstripe shorts that I got from Vintage Peach. These are the shorts that I bundled with the dress to get the discount, and I certainly think it was worth it. They're super soft, they have this elastic waistband, so they're extremely comfortable, and they hit the mark for that longer shorts trend perfectly. These are a little bit longer than some of the other pairs I've showed you guys before, so they are a bit more of a challenge to style. I find especially when you're short like me, they can make you look a little bit stumpy, but the trick is to wear them with a very, very small top. Now, a small top doesn't necessarily have to be a crop top, it could just be a very form-fitting top, but basically the idea is that you have these big, wide leg, long shorts, so you have a lot of volume going on the lower half of your body, so you want to reduce the volume elsewhere. The top I paired with this is a 90s vintage gingham bra top that I got as part of a set. I got this from another seller on Depop, also for a very affordable price. So this outfit is kind of like a big conglomerate of all the trends in one. You've got the micro crop top, the colorful gingham, the long shorts, the bold patterns, and some kitten heels. And not to mention, it is perfect for the hot weather we are experiencing right now in Florida. Alright, you guys, that is all the outfits for this week. Please let me know down in the comments which one was your favorite, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Depop, and now TikTok if you want to see more outfits that I'm styling throughout the week and get your hands on some of the items that I'm selling. I'm so grateful to all of you guys for supporting me throughout this time. Making videos and making content has been a great escape from a very stressful time, and I hope that watching my videos and seeing my pictures is in some way a nice distraction for you guys too. As always, leave a comment down below if there's anything you guys want to see from me. I think especially now that I have TikTok, I'm gonna be more willing to try out some other types of video ideas because I don't have to commit to making a full 10-minute video about it. So if you guys want to learn more about me or see any really quick styling tips, I definitely head to that platform. I hope you guys are all staying safe and sane right now. Remember, I am always here to help you guys out, and I can't thank you enough for being there for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.